Hello and welcome to Movie Mayhem here at Suspiria Works Cinema, where we watch all the movies. Today we have a random movie review of the newly released Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox. A little background: I am a large comic fan, longtime DC Comics reader, Marvel as well. Flash is my favorite superhero, so I was curious what they were going to do with this. I have read the Flashpoint Paradox in comic form, and I read the New 52 up through the first year. You know, from a comics perspective, outside of the Jeff Johns titles and a handful of others, it didn't do it for me, and I stopped reading comics altogether since then. However, I said Flash is my favorite of the superheroes, so I've read every Flash title since even the Golden Age archives, and then all the Silver Age stuff up to the present. As far as the comic goes, Flashpoint was interesting. All the tie-ins were very cool. It was a fun story. It worked well. So how do you translate that many miniseries, spin-offs, and subtitles into a coherent under 80-minute movie, as all of the DC Animated Universe titles are? In this, we have Justin Chambers playing the voice of the Flash. C. Thomas Howell is Professor Zoom. Awesomely, we have Kevin Conroy as Batman. Tim Daly's son does the voice of Superman. That was pretty cool. Most of the voice casting is dead on. Cary Elwes is Aquaman, like that. And you've got the director. The director, Oliva, has done a lot of the recent DC animated stuff, like Dark Knight Returns. It did Green Lantern, Emerald Knights, at least one of the segments in there. You know, I'm not sure how much control the directors really have over the voice acting, simply because these are made really fast. They're on a super tight budget. You have horrible limitations on your time. You can't... The limitations of the format and the direct-to-video release has tight constraints on the amount of creativity you can do. So when you're taking something like Flashpoint, which is a huge universe concept, and cramming that into such a short time frame, there's going to be some things that are missed. So I'll preface this with, I did enjoy the film. But if you're going to watch this with somebody who does not already know all of these characters, now, they don't have to have necessarily read all the comics, but definitely should be familiar with at least a couple Justice League animated movies, or even the Justice League series. At worst, have them read some Wikipedia articles on the characters. If you do not know, if you don't know right off the bat the core team, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, and some extended characters like Cyborg especially, you might not know him if you aren't reading the newer things or haven't been a Titans reader or fan. A lot of it's not going to make sense, especially in that regards. When they go to the alternate timelines, the person who doesn't know the background of these characters is not going to understand the changes and why everything's so different. It's going to be confusing. They present a lot of information really fast, and they do not recap because there's just too much. So if you miss one thing, that's it. They had to chop lots of little pieces here and there to just accelerate the storyline. The whole continent of Africa is ignored, which I wish they would have kept because God is awesome. But other than that, it starts out with exactly how Flashpoint started. The Rogues are trying to kill Barry Allen, and don't worry, I'm not going to spoil this. Zoom obviously admits that he wants to destroy the Flash and everything he stands for. And Flash runs off in time and wakes up. We have all this new crazy universe where everything's changed. Batman is he looks different, he acts different. The world is at war with Aquaman and Wonder Woman waging wars against each other, destroying the planet in the process. Most of this is in the trailer. I'm really trying to avoid spoiling it because it's an interesting movie to watch. The fight scenes are great. This is on par with the best kind of fight scenes you saw in the Justice League animated show. Lots of good fighting, lots of good action, and it's really violent. I was really surprised. I mean, it's PG-13, but it is really violent, really bloody. There's a lot of death in it. Sure, I guess you're saying, oh, this is an alternate time. Maybe that's why it's okay. It's cool with me. It works. It needed to be in this, and it fit the story. The comic story was extremely violent, too. This is a very dark, horrible world that the Flash is thrown into, and he has to try to fix everything. So, you got that. The animation is a little odd in places. Aquaman looks like he's 9 feet tall, and he's got this really... His body proportions are strange, and I'm not talking where everybody had like the same body type of Justice League animated, but it's odd looking. It looks like kind of similar to the Berserk animation, especially on some of the characters, Aquaman in particular. And they've got... It's choppy. I mean, it's not Disney. This is not a theater release, so... You know, they farm out the animation to different studios in different countries and try to get as much done as cheap as possible. And that does show in the animation. It makes up for it, though. The soundtrack is good. The music is great. I don't know if they pirated that from unused music from Hans Zimmer's score to the Nolan Batman movies, which it seems almost similar to that, but music sounds great. It really fits. The soundtrack is kicking. It comes with a full lossless audio soundtrack. Yay! They don't always give you that on the DC animated titles. And it's exciting. It's non-stop action beginning to end. The stuff they cut out from the comics either was extraneous and didn't matter. I mean, you still get the Canterbury Cricket in here, which is awesome. My favorite New 52 character that we never saw again. And you've got the important core parts of the story are still there. The main characters that you expect to see from the Justice League are still there. You get to see all these heroes in their alternate universe format. And what I like is this is finally a Flash movie. This is, my guess, Warner Brothers testing out the Flash as a property to see if they can get away with making a live-action movie. I hope this does well. It's a fun animated feature. If you're a fan of the comic, you will definitely appreciate this. You'll see stuff missing. Again, it's not 5 hours long. There's going to be huge chunks missing. But it captures the essence of the story and the heart of the story in a short animated film. And it does a very good job of that. So I highly recommend checking it out. You've got some fast-paced action and fun comic entertainment here. As for the movie itself, it's hard to rate it. You know, I'm not sure how good it is on repeat viewings once you know everything's going to happen. But as far as a direct-to-video DC animated title, this is definitely one of the best ones they've put out. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Now, the Blu-ray itself, again, great quality, lossless audio, yes. It looks good. There's no compression. Blacks were very nice and milky. All the colors were very smooth. I have no complaint about the video presentation whatsoever. The typical extras you get with the DC animated titles, they're always interesting, kind of fun to watch. So I'm going to give the Blu-ray 9 out of 10. So, bottom line is, I definitely recommend checking this out. If you're a fan of Justice League, if you're a fan of The Flash, you need to own this. If you love the comic series or even liked it, I say check this out. If you're someone who hasn't been familiar with the comics or the animated stuff, but you know the DC Universe to some extent, you at least understand The Flash, some of his villains, I think this will be fun. I think it'll be entertaining, and you'll maybe be curious about the expanded DC Universe. So I really do recommend checking this movie out. I hope you liked this review, and be sure to like, share, and provide any comments, and we'll see you next time here at Movie Mayhem.